It was a surprisingly warm day for the beginning of December. Temperatures in the low 50s, so I thought I'd get out on the water in my kayak, Current Designs Kestrel 14R. You can see me gingerly getting in the kayak without any fanfare, fortunately. Just stowed my Greenland paddle so I can put on my drip skirt. Now the skirt I'm putting on, it's not a full skirt like you would see in a whitewater kayak. This is simply to keep the drips from my paddle from landing on my legs and inside the kayak. It's held on by a simple bungee cord band around it, but I often find it difficult to get on, starting in the back and you bring it around to the front. But should the boat fall over or roll over, I would just fall out. The skirt would come right off. The bungee cord doesn't hold it on very firmly. Soon getting ready to leave here. Wiggle away from the bottom a little bit. Get my feet on the foot pegs inside the kayak. Shove off of the shore. And we're on our way. This is the boat launch at North Vandergrift, and we'll be heading upstream first. The river gauge was showing about 5 feet that day. When the river gets about 3.5 feet or lower, the water's too low to kayak in. You wind up scraping the bottom, having to walk through, push through some of the riffles. If it gets much above 6, it's pretty violent, chocolatey, and it's unpleasant to paddle. So 5 is a sweet spot if you're going downstream. Here you can see the highway bridge connecting Vandergrift proper with North Vandergrift. That's Dime Road on the bridge there. Here you can see the Greenland paddle compared to the standard or European style paddle. The paddle's about the same length, and the surface area of the blade is about the same as a European paddle. It's just that it's drawn out into a long shape instead of being like a flower petal or a leaf. Popularized in the country of Greenland, and it has advantages if you are using your kayak in ocean surf, or if you're doing the Eskimo roll where you're actually flipping underneath. It's also easier on your shoulders, and it's good to use when you're paddling for long distances. Here I'm just learning how to use this touring style of kayak, a little unsteady, and I'm also just learning how to use the Greenland paddle. Here I'm making a turn to the right, which means leaning the boat over to the left. You can see I've moved my right hand up on the blade of the paddle and using big sweep strokes to bring the nose of the boat around. A seasoned kayaker would have edged the boat over, leaned the boat over much further than I did. But I'm still learning, need to be comfortable, more comfortable before I lean the boat over. Last thing I need to do is be dumped out into 50-degree water in the middle of December Although I do have my dry suit on, it has elastic or rubber around the sleeves and around the neck. Both feet are in booties, so if I should go in, the only things that would get wet would be my head and my hands. Here I'm starting to pull into the shore, taking little dabs and strokes on either side to control myself getting in, back to the beach where I started from. Shore. You can see the black nylon strap heading out from the bow to the cockpit. That's my strap that I use to pull myself up to stand up. Here I'm taking off the splash skirt, pulling it up over my head. Temporarily stowing it underneath the elastic in front of me. Now we get out. Lift up, sit on the back of the cockpit, put one foot out, lean on the paddle. Now, grab that strap and with some hesitation, push off with my left hand on the cockpit. See me shaking my head. Push on the paddle. Pull, pull, pull. Oh, come on, old man. There you go. Standing up. That's the hardest thing for me, is to get up from standing on the ground. And here I've switched the camera from the bow of the boat and put it on a harness on my chest. And here we're getting ready to go downstream from the launch at North Vandergrift. I'm very graceful. Stow my stand-up strap. And we'll put the splash drip apron back on, the drip skirt. Which way is forward? Oh, okay, this way. Part goes behind me, so I'm inside the skirt now. Reach around behind me. Put the back in first, and then put the front in. There's a pull tab on the front where my left hand is. You pull on that, and the skirt comes right off. Should you need to take it off in a hurry. Got my pedal on its tether. Should I drop it in the water, doesn't float away from the boat. You would be truly up a creek without a paddle if you dropped it. Backing away from the launch point. So trying to lean the boat over one way than the other as I paddle one side than the other. And there was more current than I expected. Going upstream was a bit of work, and coming downstream, like we are here, you're really flying. You can look at the bubbles on the water and see how quickly we're going through the water. And off the bow, about 11 o'clock, you can see the big building from the ATI Vandergrift operations there. And I really should be pulling the paddle a little bit further back toward my shoulder or hip, back just a little bit further than I am here. These strokes are a bit too short, but like I said, I'm still learning. Good day, sun was out, blue sky, saw some geese. But it was good to be on the water. I didn't go down too far before I saw a little riffle, and I didn't want to go through a riffle and have to paddle back up it, so I started a slow, lazy turn to the right, which I'm doing here. See me move my right hand up onto the blade of the paddle. Big sweep strokes. You see the bow coming around. See the shoreline moving in front of the bow. And now we're headed back upstream. And this was the point where I realized that I had a bit of work to do to get back to the launch point. But you do get into a rhythm, and it doesn't seem like work. You can see the bridge in the background. That's where the launch is. That's how much further we have to get back. It took me just under an hour to paddle up, maybe close to a half mile, and then paddle downstream about a half mile back up. So probably mile and a half, 2 miles is what I did this day. Here we're coming up onto the launch point. Water's pretty shallow here. Just tiptoeing in. Back again safely. This next shot, you can see a little bit of the inside of the kayak seat. There's some foot pegs in there and put your feet on. That also has the controls for the rudder, which I didn't use today because there was no wind. Boat weighs about 35 or 40 pounds, so it's just enough work for me to lift it and move it around. The car and the trailer were parked up underneath the bridge. take the paddle tether off, break the paddle into 2 pieces, grab the drip skirt, put those in the car, and put the straps on the boat, hold the boat down. Here I'm putting the red flag on the back of the boat. Here I'm tightening down the straps. Shake the boat, make sure it's nice and secure. Give the hitch a pull, make sure that's secure. Be on my way.